Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
Wipers on for the drive home, but it's not just raindrops that you may be seeing on the windshield.
Okay, Ben, but we begin with the race for the White House, and with just 7 days to go, President Trump makes a stop here in Michigan as he works to get out the vote.
But first, exclusive results of our final and latest WDIV Detroit News poll ahead of Election Day. It shows the race here in Michigan, and it shows Michigan voters are dug in and ready to go.
With just a week to go, time is running out for Michiganders to decide which side of the ballot they'll choose.
And the polls show it really isn't changing much. Right now, Joe Biden holds a nearly 8-point lead over President Trump with a 3.6% of the voters. That's not many, just a little under 4% of the voters who say they are still undecided. Mara McDonald, live with more on this poll. And Mara, the president's numbers statistically unchanged from our last go-round.
Devin, that's right. Or as our pollster likes to say, the president's numbers have been stuck in cement here essentially since January. Let me show you. As far as the presidential numbers in this state, like the song says, same as it ever was.
We started polling on this race back in January, and we had Biden with a 7-point lead. And now we've got him with the same lead at 8 points. Nothing has shifted. Nothing has changed. Despite all the insanity, this presidential race has been very stable.
What else hasn't seen a shift? The favorable, unfavorable numbers both of these candidates have. So who is fueling Biden's 8-point lead? Our pollster says it's senior citizens and women. And the president's coalition of voters from 2016 has shifted when it comes to white college-educated men who are now plus 11 for Biden, and white women who live outstate, they're plus 3.
And let me just say that if a Republican does not win outstate white women, he has a very, very difficult path in Michigan.
Why the shift in those Trump voters from 2016? Zuba puts it on the president's COVID response.
Voters in Michigan simply do not approve of the job Donald Trump has done in handling the pandemic, and he's paying a price for that here right now.
Back here live, speaking of that pandemic and how the president's handled it, as well as how Governor Whitmer has handled it, we polled on both of those things, and you might be surprised how the overlap shows up in those presidential numbers. We're going to be releasing all of that coming up tonight at 11. I'll see you then. We're live in Troy tonight. I'm Mara McDonald. Back to you.
Yeah, much more to come in our reports. All right, Mara. Now, with his numbers holding steady, President Trump was here in Michigan this afternoon working to drum up more votes in a critical state.
He made a stop at Capital Region International Airport for a rally that wrapped up just a short time ago, and our Rod Maloney was there. Rod joins us live. This was one of 3 campaign stops he's making just today, Rod.
Right, he's on his way to Wisconsin, and then he's off to Nebraska later on tonight. Now, the president came with his campaign, and he brought his Jumbotron, which he says he doesn't bring everywhere, but he wanted to show video of Joe Biden. And so there was a massive throng of adoring backers who were happy to hear him speak. Thousands gathered in the cold and driving rain to see the president.
Again, Michigan is going to answer the call of history and show the world that Sleepy Joe Biden, his dark money donors, and his corrupt special interests, and by the way, there's never been anything like this.
Mr. Trump came to Governor Gretchen Whitmer's hometown, and the crowd especially liked his jabs at her, the co-chair of the Biden campaign and regular nemesis, which prompted the crowd to chant a controversial phrase that first cropped up earlier this month when the president rallied in Muskegon.
We got to get her going. I don't think she likes me too much. See, I don't comment on that, because every time if I make just even a little bit of a nod, they say, the president led them on. No, I don't have to lead you on.
The president took a shot at UAW leadership, who they say backed Democrats while workers back him. He also claimed Joe Biden and his policies particularly hurt Michigan.
Decade after decade, Biden has twisted his knife into the back of Michigan workers and workers all over the United States.
Now, one of the guests and one of the guest speakers before the president was John James, running for Senate. And in fact, Trump went out of his way to back John James again. In the meantime, we're told that the president is going to be back in Michigan before the election next Tuesday. It's possible that he'll be back on Friday in Oakland County. We'll see where that takes us. Reporting live in Lansing, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
Okay, Rod. Now, meanwhile, former Vice President Joe Biden making the rounds in Georgia.
Biden gave remarks in Warm Springs before holding a voter mobilization drive in Atlanta. No Democrat running for president has won Georgia since Bill Clinton in 1992. He plans to travel to Iowa later in the week. His running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, will be in Arizona and Texas.
The campaigning here in Michigan ahead of Election Day, of course, far from over. Tomorrow, Vice President Mike Pence will be making a stop in Flint. Thursday, Dr. Jill Biden will be back in Michigan, though no word on exactly where just yet. On Saturday, Joe Biden will be in our state to hold a rally.
And if you still haven't filled out your ballot, the Michigan Secretary of State wants you to know it's too late to send it through the mail. Secretary Benson says all voters who still have a ballot should hand deliver them to their local clerk's office or ballot drop box as soon as possible. Remember, all absentee ballots must be at the clerk's office by 8 p.m. on Election Day, which is next Tuesday, November 3rd.
Making our way through on a Tuesday, we cannot shake the clouds and a little bit of rain that's been coming with it.
Yeah, we really can't. Let's get over to Ben.
Yeah, wetter day than it was yesterday, guys, and it looks like that's going to be with us at least through the drive home tonight. Storm Tracker 4 is coming up all green right now, but that is just what we're seeing, at least from the radar as far as precipitation goes. You start looking at road temperatures, even though those numbers there are in the upper 40s, you can see that right along 94 and out to 23. It's a little bit colder out there. Those road pavement temperatures there at 43 degrees. We have been getting reports of some snowflakes mixing in, and that's why we're showing you this, because I think those will probably be just swirling around in the air. Should not be an issue, at least as far as slick spots go driving home tonight. Otherwise, very consistent temperatures right around 40 degrees. Do expect the rain, at least the widespread stuff, to end before 10 o'clock. Could be a couple sprinkles lingering around by midnight, but big changes coming up as far as what Zeta is going to bring us on Thursday. We'll look at that, and of course a very important Saturday for a lot of reasons, all in a few minutes, guys.
Is all right, Ben. Now to an update on a story we brought you yesterday at 5. A 2-year-old girl remains hospitalized after a dog attack that happened inside her home.
The girl's parents say the dog does not belong to them. It got in through the front door of their home on Detroit's east side. Police say the girl's father shot and killed the dog, but also accidentally shot his daughter in the arm. The daughter is now in stable condition. Detectives were back on the scene today. No word on if the father will face charges.
New coronavirus numbers are out. They are not good. Once again, 2,367 new cases confirmed over the past 24 hours. That comes after a single-day total this weekend of over 3,000. Also, the state reporting 28 more deaths in the past day from COVID-19. That includes 8 from a review of past vital records. 3 million rapid COVID-19 tests are on their way to Michigan. This part of the White House's plan to increase testing capacity in certain settings.
Dr. Frank McGeorge joins us with where these tests are going to be used in our state and what makes them special compared to other COVID-19 tests. Doc?
Yeah, Kim and Devin. So these rapid tests are produced by Abbott Labs, and they're called the Binax Now COVID-19 Antigen Card. Now, you may remember there was a prior Abbott rapid test called the ID Now, which actually had been criticized in some studies for a very unacceptable rate of high false positives. Now, these newer tests being distributed are pretty slick, and they are very different. Here's how.
The Abbott Binax Now rapid antigen test is a single credit card-sized test that doesn't require any special equipment to interpret. Using a nasal swab, it detects a specific protein that's on the surface of the SARS-CoV-2 virus in 15 minutes. The ID Now system, also from Abbott, is a rapid PCR test. It detects something completely different, the RNA or genetic material of the virus. Now, no test is 100% accurate, but the standard PCR tests that are done in a lab are considered the gold standard, with a low false negative rate, meaning they correctly find infected individuals. The problem is they take longer and require special equipment and reagents. These new rapid tests, on the other hand, don't require any special equipment and only take 15 minutes. Unfortunately, what they gain in speed and convenience, they lose in accuracy. Abbott says their Binax Now COVID test has a low false negative rate of only 2.9% if done within 7 days of symptom onset, although there have not been any independent tests to verify that. The clear advantage is that a widely available rapid test can be used in settings like schools, critical infrastructure workers, and long-term care facilities to screen for infectious people whose infection is in earlier stages or who might otherwise go undetected.
Now, no one should ever rely on these tests to prove that they are not infected. They just aren't sensitive enough for that. And even if someone is screened negative with one of these tests, they should still wear a mask, distance, and do the same thing that you would even without a test.
Yeah. So do we know for sure where these tests will be used in the state?
Well, you know, Kim, so far the state has received over 650,000 of these tests, and over 170,000 have already been distributed to long-term care facilities, state psychiatric hospitals, local health departments, and National Guard training. Now, other areas like K-12 schools and higher education, they are slated to receive them, but only after additional coordination and training.
Yeah. Okay. Dr. McGeorge, thank you. Meanwhile, with cases rising, we know you have questions and concerns about the coronavirus crisis. We're taking an in-depth look at the pandemic and its impact on our lives, including the election, education, and racial disparities. This Friday at 8 p.m., join Devin, Dr. McGeorge, and the rest of the Local 4 team for this special hour dedicated to COVID-19.
The Detroit branch of the NAACP is focused on protecting the vote.
Ahead here at 5, how they plan to fight back against any sort of voter intimidation on Election Day.
Also chaos in Philadelphia. Protests over a deadly police shooting turned violent overnight with more than 30 officers injured. Sean.
He was only 18 years old. He grew up in Dearborn, and he was shot and killed. And since then, we have heard very little about this case. Tonight, the Local 4 defenders are with his family.
This is our baby. This is the youngest.
Tonight, the pain they're going through and what they want you to know.